Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Batman 66 episode review. Today we'll be reviewing Zelda the Great, the introduction of Zelda the Great, the villain for this two-part episode. But before we get more into that villain, what makes her so unique, let's get into the story. The episode, or the story, begins with this episode with someone robbing a bank, and in the course, a guard tries to shoot him, but for some reason, the bullets don't affect the robber in question and knocks him out. We then cut to the police commissioner Gordon's office, where he, Chief O'Hara, and several other police officers tell us what's going on. It turns out, on April Fool's, a certain bank robber goes and robs the bank and only steals a certain amount of money each time. And it turns out that they have not yet to crack who's doing this. Realizing that they've been at this for so long and desperately need a new set of eyes for this, they call in Batman. As a result, but unlike for the first few episodes where this takes place during the day, this took place at night. So this is the first time where the bat signal is used. As a result, the bat signal is shunned up in the sky when they can't reach him via the bat phone. And Dick Grayson, Bruce Wayne, see the bat signal in the sky as they are out on the back veranda looking through a telescope and taking in the night sky, eventually quickly leave to go and go to Police HQ. Here, it's also different this time around, as the Batmobile is actually parked at the back of Police HQ rather than traditionally at the front like it usually is. So again, some things have definitely changed up here. As they get to the office, they quickly get informed of the whole case. And of course, Batman realizes that no clue was left, not even they could deduce. So, in realizing this, they decide to come up with a plan to capture this said thief, but also analyze the bullet that was left at the scene, hoping to give us some clues. As a result, they then plan a story in the newspapers saying that the money that the bank robber robbed last night was counterfeit money that was set to be sent to the Treasury for disposal, but was simply stored there. So it's useless money. Just as that's happening, they also are pretty much scanning the bullet and find out that there's some kind of perfume on it, realizing that their bank robber was a woman. Robin naturally comes to the conclusion that it's Catwoman, which is the first time her name is even mentioned in the series. Batman says, no, that's impossible, she's safely up the river, this ain't her. They then, of course, call Commissioner Gordon, saying that the robber was definitely female, and of course are happy with themselves of how the story is, planted in the newspaper. No doubt this will no doubt cause the bank robber to rob again. As a result of this, we then cut to the villain's hideout, where a criminal genius named Delector is not happy that his money turns out to be counterfeit, and here walks in the main villain of the episode, Zelda the Great, a magician who, as we find out, is only doing these criminal acts so that Abel can give her like a new, magic trick to do, because in a way, she's not that fully creative to come up with her own things, but Abel is. As a result, Zelda is a person who reluctantly does crime and doesn't even like it, but she'll do anything for a quick, just to get a quick trick. And this explains her tricks every year. Realizing this, Abel then shows the latest thing that he was planning for her, such as an escapable doom trap with bulletproof glass, which he demonstrates, and shows that not even he can get the person to escape the trap. Not even with the gates, which is electrified and will be locked from the outside with poisonous gas coming in. He doesn't know how to get the person out. And as Zelda asks how, he says, you won't even know how to get out unless I get my money. But realizing that it's counterfeit, he then decides that he wants her to steal this rare diamond. Just as Zelda is trying to pull together a way to rob the diamond, she then comes to the conclusion that, wait, this is almost too convenient. Sensing a trap, we then jump cut to pretty much Batman and Robin setting up a trap to catch the thief when she goes to steal the diamond. But just as this is happening, it turns out that Zelda is secretly casing outside, and therefore finds out that it indeed is a trap and needs to get money elsewhere. We then cut scene to Anne Harriet getting a phone call saying that Dick is in the hospital, that Dick's been injured and been sent to hospital, and that a car will be coming to collect her. Now, automatically, we know something's wrong here, as there's no way Dick could be in hospital, as he is currently doing his duties as Robin. As a result, we jump cut back to Batman and Robin trying to capture this new criminal, and Zelda walks in, causes a gas to get everyone out of the building, and just as about to steal the diamond, Batman and Robin pounce, intend to apprehend her. She disappears. Realizing she stole the diamond, they realize that tracker works because the diamond is actually a tracker. They then try to track her, but only to find out that she's left the diamond. They then get a call from Police Commissioner Gordon, where they find out that instead the kidnapper has instead kidnapped Aunt Harriet and has demanded a ransom, in which they need to have both Batman and Bruce Wayne on live TV accepting the villain's demands. But the problem is, they can't find Bruce Wayne, and they only have an hour before, well, let's just say something bad will definitely happen to Aunt Harriet. We then get a cutscene where where Aunt Harriet is in a straitjacket, tied to a rope, or over top a boiling vat of boiling oil with candle flames around, with Zelda just calmly sitting on a chair, needling. We then end the cliffhanger whether she's going to get out or not. And tune in with the usual tune in tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. Like I said, as usual, Adam West and Burt Ward return to be Batman and Robin and Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson respectively. Here, not much character development here, although I do feel sorry for Dick Grayson at the end of the episode, as Aunt Harriet is really his aunt, not Bruce's, and in a way, Aunt Harriet is the last true family he has left. I really do feel sorry for him in that case. And here, we get, of course, Chief O'Hara Commissioner Gordon. Arguably, this is really where we get the stereotype of them being absolutely pathetic lawmen. As if you think about it, they've been on this case for years now and still haven't cracked it. Batman has and has got more out of it within a few hours than they have. Again, it's a running gag that they are not competent policemen. Alfred here is still Alfred, the nice, carefully doting butler who's always there to encourage Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, and pretty much is there as just a side fun character. Even his presence light up the room. But here Aunt Harriet, of course, returns, but here getting kidnapped I find to be arguably, very just comes out of nowhere for me at the time, because Aunt Harriet, you think, is just a smart, minor character, and was just there just like Alfred, just to have a presence that just brightens up the room. But here it's actually different. I actually like it and really enjoy it. And when she's kidnapped, I'm genuinely shocked that it came out of nowhere. Well, for me anyway. And it really, for me, just for once gave Aunt Harriet more character room for an episode. Our main villain for this episode is Zelda the Great, a character created specifically for this series. Basically, and I like her character, she's basically a magician who is only get involved in crime just so she could have someone come up with a new trick. She hates being a criminal, but she's forced into it. But despite that, she still gives off the appearance that she's a competent main female villain. Overall, she's definitely unique, and when watching this first time around, I always generally found her character to be rather boring and not at all enjoyable. But years later, rewatching, I've come to really enjoy her character. And the orange clothing for me just pops out for me, and it's sort of like her unofficial villain costume. Again, she's more grounded and down to earth after all, while the other villains we've seen so far are more colourful. Also, another thing that made her different, this is a villain Batman's never met before. True, however, the police department know that someone's been robbing banks, but this is the first time Batman's really encountered her. You see, I've always said this, if it's a villain that was created specifically for the comics, then that makes sense to be a villain that has been pre-established, that we the audience never met. That was the same with Batman. We meet Batman quickly, and he's already established he's a well-known crime fighter that works with, you know, the police department. Same with Robin. For me, it makes perfect sense for those villains to be the same. They originate from the comics, make them already established villains. Here, this is one comes out of nowhere, and I found it a very refreshing breath of air. Also, something new is, well, here. Delector, who arguably in this two-parter is the real main mastermind. The actor was portrayed by Jack Crochet. Hopefully that name's been pronounced correctly. Again, he's really the main villain, really, here. Although Zelda has mostly been window dressing, but she still is competent enough to just be there as well. And also a thing, this character, Delector, actually made his debut in the comics. Again, some of these episodes in the season 1 were actually adaptations of comic book stories that were already out in the time. They were loose adaptations. So I found it quite interesting. And I like how he is just this slimy, you know, person who makes all these, you know, escape traps and sells them to Zelda for a certain amount of money. And this here also plays on, like, what was very known at the time, that apparently women could be led astray to the criminal life by, you know, empowering by, you know, evil men. Which, and honestly, in the series, the main villain would occasionally have a female mole, like a villainous assistant. But here, Zelda doesn't play much as a villainous assistant, and more of like a partner duo. I really like his presence here, and overall just found him really entertaining, and just the accent, and that just gives it. Jack, the actor here, was a very well-known character actor, mostly doing bit parts in movies and TV shows. And I just like that I wish he could have just gotten just as much billing as Zelda, as he plays far more vital role to the story than Zelda does. But still, it makes sense why Zelda got top, well, you know, the Zelda character was made top billing for this episode. Anne Baxter was a big deal at the time. Overall, this episode just is different, and that's what I like about it. It's different. First off, the main villain for this episode is a female. Again, something different. And overall, it has a different feel. We get 2 fourth wall breaks in this episode, and also just the overall feel is different. And originally when watching this, I didn't like it, but as I've grown up, I've really gone to really love it. Again, I now like it now because it is different, and it's not actually a bad episode, with a very interesting cliffhanger that for once doesn't involve Batman or Robin. Are there anything bad about this episode? Well, not really. Honestly, by the time I think they did the Joker 2-part episode, they were finally getting there and really getting more confident in the story writing. You see, with the Riddler and Penguin's first 2 outings, they were just, and for me, they were fun and entertaining, but nothing that all memorable or just out there. For these ones, I can say that they definitely do have gotten a bit confident. And Zelda is just a really interesting character. Anne Baxter here is a marvelous actress, and I'm really glad that she got to do this role. She's absolutely fantastic. And that is it. Zelda the Great. The first episode in the series to have a main female leading villain. And yeah, very different. Just different episode. And I like that it is different. Join us next time as we review the next 2-parter. A Death Worse Than Fate, sorry. So, until next time, same Steven hour, same Steven channel.